Hello friends, I hope you're fine. In our last video, we talked about how variables and constant are used to store computer data. And in this video, I will be talking about what different type or nature of information or data can be stored in computer program in Swift language. So if we talk about computer programs, they are basically uh, either storing information or they are retrieving or processing and displaying information, whether it could be fetching data from database or from the internet. So in Swift language, there are different types of data that you can store in a computer program. And for example, it could be a character like A, B, C, or it could be a textual based data where you are storing person name or person address, and or it could be in the form of numbers, whether positive or negative numbers, complete numbers with or without fractions, and it could be also in the form of Boolean variables. For example, it could be whether user exists or is user logged in or not. So these are the different types of data that we will be discussing in today's lecture, and we will see how to declare and store information and what is the difference between them. So now let's get back to computer and see things real in action. About six different data types which I have listed here. Let's discuss one by one. First, we will discuss character. Character is a type of variable which can store one character based string, and let's declare how it look like. For example, letter and declare of type character. So after colon you specify data type, and let's assign one character. We can assign A or any capital or small letter or any other character in double quote. That's the syntax to create a string in Swift. And on the first letter we are basically declaring a variable, and on the second we are assigning value to that variable. And now on this line we are also promising to compiler that we will only be storing one character string in that variable, but if we try to add another character, it will shout us, compiler will shout an error that cannot assign value of type string to type character. uh, and this is because Swift is a strongly typed language. It cannot let us mistakenly um, violate that contract, or that now we are storing string while we declared that it was of type character. But in programming language or in software, we have requirements where we have to store strings or variables with more than one character, and for that there is a facility in language, Swift language, and let's say we declare a variable with name welcome message, and its type would be string. So string basically can hold textual based information or um, data where there are more than one characters, and we store, for example, hello world. And as you can see that right now we have been declaring variable on one line and then assigning, but we can combine that on one line as well and get rid of the second line. Same we can do with the letter as well. Now specifying this data type, it is called explicit type declaration, and we can get rid of that too because Swift compiler will automatically infer that it is of type string, and we can verify by clicking Alt and enter, and it will show pop-up that it is of type string. But one thing is very interesting, and that is if you don't specify character type with the variable name and check its type, it will assume that it is string. So be careful with that. And the next data type that we are going to discuss is that in your program there could be Boolean variables. For example, it could be true or false, and for that Swift support Boolean variables. And let's declare, for example, a variable which stores is user logged in status, and declare it bool. And now I will initially declare it false, because let's say user is on first screen and he has not verified his credentials, and he is not inside the application. But after, let's say, it is verified, we can change it to true. And you notice that once variable is declared with var keyword, you don't need to use that var keyword again and again. You can just use name and assign it value. Is integer or int, and integer data type is those numbers which don't have fractional part. It could be a positive integer or a negative integer value. How we can declare such type of variable with var keyword? And let's say we want to store age of a person, and if we look at we have different flavors of integer: int of 8-bit, 16-bit, 32 and 64, and you can use based on your need. And for the sake of simplicity, I will be using simple int, and let's say person is of 25-year-old. And we can also store negative values inside an int, and it would be perfectly fine. Present values or numbers with fractional points, and there is a keyword float that is used to declare such variable or constant. So let's say we declare constant and name it py value, and declare with the keyword float. And there are different flavors of float as well available, which you can use based on your requirement. For this tutorial we will be using simple float, and store a value of pi. For example, I'm just adding arbitrary value in pi, and as you can see that it has after decimal there are 7 digits, but if we check in the log on the right side, it is only showing 6 digit, and that is because float can only have accuracy of 6 digit after decimal place. So if I add, for example, anything on the left, it will reduce decimal on the right side. So if I keep adding on the left side, and you check on the right side, it is basically rounding off its value. You also notice that I have declared let instead of variable, because value of pi we are not thinking, or we should think that it is not going to change. So that is why I have declared it as a let. But we can have requirements where we have we are required to have basically accuracy more than 6 digit. For example, in the stock values, or we are talking about locations of a person with longitude, latitude. So for that, Swift has another um, uh, data type which is called double, and uh, how we can declare it is I'm naming it latitude constant, and let's assign the same value to double and see what is its behavior. So as you can see that it has basically more accuracy, can represent data which have after decimal place up to 15 digit. On the other hand, float, it can handle only up to 6 digit. You can also convert one value type to other from double to float, and there are some consequences where you will lose some part of the data, especially if you convert from a higher accuracy value data type to a lower one. And we can maybe we will discuss it in future where it is more evident. So if you have been learning Swift, this has been third tutorial in our series. And if you think that it is helpful, please like, subscribe, and share so that I can create more videos. Until that time, stay safe. Bye bye.